Welcome back, everybody, to the Breachers VRML. I'm your host, Gibular Bob, and today on the desk, I'm joined by the one and only Hertaj. How's it going, Hertaj?
Yeah, I'm doing good, ready to cast some matches, and I believe this is week 4 into the week, and we got a bunch of good matches to security cast, and then there's been back and forth, it's a lot more different in season 2. Season 1 we've had a bunch of teams, but now in season 2 a lot of things have started to change. This week has been an like wonder of roster changes, and it's no different with Aspect here as well.
Yeah, roster changes this week, last week, the week before. It's just been shakeups all across the board. Tonight's matchup, specifically, is Olympus versus Aspect. It's going to be a close matchup here. Let's take a look at some of this data. Aspects currently number 2. Olympus number 6. Olympus with a 3-1-1 record. That means they've won 3 times, they've lost 1 time, and they've tied 1 time. Aspect, a 2-1 record from them. So Olympus has played a little bit more, but we all know Aspect are a very, very tough team. They've been around since the preseason when they were known as the older guys. And then in season 1, they rebranded to Aspect. And now here they are, back up once again at the top of the NA standings. If we take a look at the map data, Olympus has played all 5 maps this season, with their best map being Hideout. 17 rounds played there, 82% of those rounds won. Aspect, their best map, Factory. They've played 10 rounds there. They've won 70% of those rounds. And this was a match, Partosh, that was heavily poised that it would go in Aspect's favor. 78 votes from our connoisseurs to Aspect, 13 from Olympus. Do you think it's going to be kind of a blowout, or do you think we're going to see a close matchup here?
The connoisseurs, they have a good reason to heavily favor Aspect. They're a stronger team. They showed really good. They've had a really good performance against Acer back in week 1. One of the, arguably one of the best teams right now in the league. And overall in their overall matchups, teams they've stomped a restart, and they've put a good fight against Eternity as well. So it does make a lot more sense for the connoisseur votes to go towards the side of Aspect rather than Olympus. They're a little bit more quote unquote newer. They are technically indomitable without their main captain, but looking back at the overall matchups coming from that side of Olympus, they have put up some pretty good numbers against some notable teams. But the question is how are they gonna do against a team like Aspect?
Yeah, we'll see how they do. I mean, it's always going to be a big week for your team when you go up against Acer, Aspect, a team like that that's at the top of the food chain in terms of the region. So this is going to be a good test for Olympus. Right now, they've beaten some tough teams. They've proven that they deserve to be in the top 10. But this is going to be the test if they deserve to be in the top 5, the top 3. I mean, beating Aspect would be a major, major feat in the Breachers VRML. I mean, I think the only honor that you could get higher in NA is beating Acer, which is currently undefeated in this season. They were the Season 1 champions. They were the preseason champions. So, I mean, we could definitely see, it would be a big accomplishment for Olympus if they could beat Aspect here today. And I the connoisseurs heavily vote for Aspect, but I think the connoisseurs are wrong a lot of the time. I like to see them be wrong. I like to see them lose their score. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, and I like to see people rank
the villain arc.
Yeah,
Bob is, he wants to see all red on the connoisseur leaderboard.
Yeah, I do. I like to see the red. I like to see them be wrong. And I think Olympus, they have potential to do that. I've seen Olympus play. They've got some people who are on Bandit. They've got some people who are on Indomitable. So they are a tough team. And I think if there's going to be a team that has a chance of beating Aspect or one of these other top teams, I got to say it's either Olympus or Fusion or Rebel, one of those teams that are kind of standing out with their accomplishments recently. So I definitely think we've got some potential here from Olympus. Both the teams are in the lobby currently on Aspect, Grouchy, Gizmo, Faded, Solo, I Blame My Aim, and Jess. And of course, over on Olympus, Brabadabado, Valentine, Ito, Impala, and Dr. Turk, they're voting for map 1. Now, Hertosh, let me get your prediction real quick. Where do you think they're going to go?
Now, assuming because the only thing that I have from the players, as far as I know, is just the server lobby. I do not have a ban from this side of Olympus. So it could go either way, but if we do look at the overall stats, it does look like that we could be looking at a overall potential on Arctic or Hideout because, you know, even though it's a little bit false, unless I'm absolutely wrong and we go on Skyscraper as the first, shocking, but I do believe, I think Aspect did get that first pick, so it would make sense that they started to go for Skyscraper because, you know, if you get Revolter and you get 5 rounds, it's a guaranteed win. Well, what do you think, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, I'm of the opinion that the higher skilled team you are, the more you can negate those traditional map side advantages that you've seen. I've seen teams play better on offense than they have on defense on Skyscraper, which is strange, but it is something that's certainly possible. And without further ado, I'm going to give the teams to the go-ahead to start. Send that real quick.
Yeah, that begs the question. Do you think there are any quote-unquote, I will say quote-unquote rigged maps? So, you know, things like, oh, it's definitely going to go one way if they get that side. Or would you say it's just more on skill?
I think it's more of a skill, but towards the middle ladder, you tend to see those advantages start to take more of a shape. And I'll elaborate that a little bit more once we get into our first map, which is going to be Skyscraper. Here we are on map number 1, Olympus versus Aspect. Olympus starting off on the offense, Aspect on the defense. Pretty solid lineups from both teams. And we do see some starting eco spectrals across the board from everybody except for Gizmo, who's standing out by running that Cyclone in this first round. We'll see where the teams go with this opening round. This is going to be important. It's going to set the tone for the first half of this Skyscraper map. It really could determine the economy and, you know, set one team ahead of the other for first couple of rounds here. Now, we do see a window opened up. Jess picked up some damage from EDO, who's right outside of the lower lounge, a solo upstairs. Meanwhile, the rest of Olympus making their way through courtyard. But we do have Frostbite in the back bathroom hallway there. 2 minutes 25 on the clock. Plenty of time for Olympus to make a move.
And you can see the attempt on push. They're going to be trying to siege this full lounge area. See Frostbite enter, making their way inside that hallway. So they know that they're able to clear a part of this hallway before trying to make attempts to peek. See Frostbite there trying to exchange a couple of shots. Trying to spot at least one player that's on that A site. Whilst Wallbang's trying to be shot through the hallway, trying to find at least one piece of damage, so they're able to go into these engagements with an upper hand. But meanwhile, on the upper floor, you can see the side where Aspect are going to be attempting this flank, and it could work out in their favor. As you can see, all of the side of, oh wow, I don't know why I'm blanking, but the side now Aspect's able to just get this flank ready.
Solo being shut down by Brabadabado. Good flank watch there from Olympus as are on the move. Frostbite taking out Grouchy Gizmos. Jess finds one on Ito. String of kills from both sides, but look at this. Olympus taking round 1 on the offense. That was an unexpected start, but they did a tremendous job. And really, I think a lot of that was from Brabadabado taking out Solo, who really could have destroyed that push from Olympus if they weren't careful.
Yeah, if just they weren't careful, maybe if they gave up that flank pressure, or if they let that flank get behind him, it could have just deficit ended up costing them that round. But instead, they just focused on the overall site. They focused on that pressure onto B bomb, and they end up just able to get these kills that are crucial. They end up cutting off that one-way access from the A site. You know, cutting off connector. It is such a huge part that you get that. And now all they had to do was just cover the outside hallway, and that essentially got them that first round.
Now, what's making me a little nervous here is a double eco from Olympus. Would it not be smarter to go for those Vezins round 2?
You end up risking, going into that third round with a split econ. The reason why you want to guarantee, or sometimes you'll see teams go for second round ecos, is to minimize the risk that you go in, because you don't know if the Revolters are going to be going in with a second round Vezin or going for ecos. So that's why usually you want to make that safe bet with going in second round to just save, because you're at a losing advantage already.
One player down from Aspect as Olympus on the move, moving through bathroom right now. There's a frag toss, which will find even more damage on Jess. And Frostbite will secure that kill. Gets refragged by Grouchy Gizmo, who picks up a second on their way out. Impala over in the bathroom as Grouchy Gizmo looking for their third kill. Solo finding Dr. Turt will be refragged by Brabadabado as it's quickly become a 2 versus 2. However, Aspect is pretty split up. I Blame My Aim will be shut down by Brabadabado, who's on 1 health. Can Grouchy Gizmo clutch this up? I mean, Brab is on 1 health here, can't pick up any bit of damage whatsoever, but look at this Grouchy Gizmo checking that breach. Brabadabado looking to rotate through the hallway there. There's a minute 40 on the clock as Grouchy Gizmo circling their way through bathroom, and it's really coming down to who spots who first. They're both going to die almost immediately, although I think maybe Gizmo can take one more shot from that Spectral if Brabadabado does not hit the headshot. They're kind of playing ring around the rosy
looping.
Here.
They're looping. Who's going to be?
As there's a minute 15 on the clock.
It's just a game of who gets caught first. As they've managed to wrap the entire site without catching either one of them.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, this could be it. Brab, if just keep
no,
walking,
Brab.
Just keep walking. It's a peek.
Oh my goodness, and Brab stands up.
It's just 1 pixel. Brab stands up. He knows he's standing up.
Gizmo takes out Brabadabado to tie it up 1-1 with Aspect bringing their round in there. Good.
That's got to be one of the most awkward fights I may have seen. You can, if you could explain timing in 1 round, that would be that.
Yeah.
It shows that Brabba had that opportunity to go for it, but I will say Brabba had the right move. Brabba did.
Yeah.
To go, play a bit of bait. Go for that primary wall. Play audio bait with the footsteps into bathroom. It had everything. And Gizmo, obviously ended up falling for it, but I think it's just if Brabba just flicked immediately rather than just trying to spam crouch, and they probably could have got that second round.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if Brab went to plant the EMP, it would have cued Gizmo to the noise that it made, with that noise, and they would have found Brab anyway, but I mean, it could have gone either way, but Brabadabado was just on 1 health, so couldn't take any extra damage. Good clutch from Gizmo. I know they said their parents were watching the stream, so shout out to Gizmo and Gizmo's parents if you are in the chat. 2 minutes 40 on the clock as Dr. Turt and Impala now on the upper south stairs in round number 3 of this first map. Vezins from both sides. Brabadabado opting to play, looks like support for the rest of the team as they only field 4 Vezins in the rifle round. However, Frostbite picking up Jess will be immediately refragged by I Blame My Aim, who gets refragged by Ito, and it's now a 4 versus 3 as we see Solo taking out Dr. Turt. Will they be refragged as well? No, Solo escapes the Vezin of Impala as it's a 3 versus 3 here in round 3.
Yeah, and round 3 got some action as well. See the side of Olympus just seizing control of that server room. It was just one peek. Frostbite was able to get that kill onto Jess. And when I Blame tried to get that refrag, you see Ito immediately swings on in and ends up winning that fight. So that is, and it's something that you have to be wary if you're on the revolting side. If you lose that server side room, you lose that part of the map, you lose a good amount of B bomb site if you don't have anything covered, like a static field or tripwire, which is what we see on this bomb site. Nothing else as cover. So if they do want to try and attack B, it is going to be really difficult for the side of Aspect to try and retake.
So Solo's across the map right now. If Olympus pushes, they'd have the numbers advantage over Gizmo and Faded, and they're going to have to make a move here pretty soon because there's only a minute 5 seconds on the clock. Solo's making their way through the lobby right now. Olympus on the move. There's the smoke. Tossed into broadcast as Faded looking to bring up the left. Grouchy Gizmo on the right as Faded picks off Ito. Brabadabado looking to push in with that cloaking device. May catch Faded, will catch Faded. Good positioning there from Brabadabado, who's looking to get that EMP planted. Solo, however, finding Impala as Brab now realizes that somebody is on the flank and is in a 1 versus 2 situation. It's going to be tough, but Brab finds one, and we're down to Gizmo versus Brabadabado once again. Who is going to clutch us up? Again, Brabadabado on the health disadvantage, and goes down to Gizmo once again, who clutches up the round for Aspect.
And just clutching that round, you could just see, I think it was Faded, that main player to just shut down the overall push. That smoke from that side of Olympus, it ended up being kind of short. It didn't block that vision of Faded. He ended up finding really good picks, able to stop at least one player and make it fully even, so that Solo is able to just come into this rotate on time and able to stop a couple of players. And when it came to that 1v1, Gizmo was able to had just the better advantage. He was in a spot where it was really hard to try and shoot through, as Bravo was in a wall that is behind a cover that can be easily shot through. So it is just really easy for Gizmo to just go through, and that ended up turning it around in Aspect's favor.
We're on round 4 in the first half. Olympus starting off by taking the first round. Now find themselves only able to field 1 Vezin. They did purchase a Cadillo. That's in the hands of Dr. Tur. Oh, excuse me, 2 Vezins. And we'll see how they approach this round. They're down in the economy right now. They don't have too much money to spend. Neither does Aspect, but they're a little bit better off than Olympus. However, actually, now that I'm looking at it, 2 Vezins from them as well. Gizmo going for the Knut. I Blame My Aim on Spectral. Just picking up Taurus there. They're pretty even with the Eco right now. They've both teams have suffered some losses here, and it's definitely screwed around with the momentum of this game. Typically, a team would buy some Vezins right off the start, and it would carry them through the first couple of rounds, but Olympus decided to go for the double eco, then Aspect got 2 wins, and these rounds have been getting down to 1v1s every single time. So, I mean, both sides are hemorrhaging money at this point. But we have 2 minutes left on the clock as Olympus over in the lobby lounge.
And you see the side of Olympus, they're going to try and take over A. But the door blocker there just maybe buying a bit of time before they try to think. They're going to think this out, see what they're going to try and push. As that's what they're going to do. The door blocker is going to be taken down. And it ends up catching I Blame. He tries to toss a nade under. That's why you don't want to be behind a door blocker while it's being shot. Nade toss, able to chip down Brabba. But now the side of Aspect knows that they're going to be trying and push A.
They don't have, oh my goodness, Heritage. They don't have breaching foam.
Oh no.
Oh no. Faded taking out Impala And the absence of breaching foam means that they have no way to push in through conference. They can't do that double push through the conference wall. They're going to have to go through the choke point, which is the door there. And they've already lost a pick to that. The head solo on the flank is faded, finds Ito. This is not good at all. You always want to make sure that you purchase that breaching foam. Less than a minute on the clock at this point. I would probably just save, but there are only 2 Vezins up on the other team. They do have to worry about a Knut. It's Dr. Turt. Oh my goodness, Gizmo looking for the Knut, but faded actually. Power grab, and there it is as Gizmo takes out Dr. Turt in what was, I don't think, a very well coordinated round from Olympus.
A no-looker from Gizmo, but I think that having no breaching foam on, especially on Skyscraper,
yeah,
where it is arguably the best, because on that specific site, if you do not have breaching foam, it is one of the hardest to try and take. So I'm not sure if there was miscommunication from Olympus, but leaving something essential, something so essential on a map like Skyscraper, like, breaching foam, it's gonna end up coming back to bite you.
It's really such an important part of the offense. I mean, it opens up the walls, the hatches that you need to make those kinds of pushes. And yeah, especially as Hertaj pointed out here on Skyscraper, which is a map that has a lot of those walls that you need to break open in order to do those pushes. It was yeah, I think maybe it was a miscommunication, because typically, even if a team is ecoing, they're always buying that breaching foam. It's dirt cheap. It's only 200. And it's money very, very well spent. And they lost some Vezins because of it. And their money isn't the best. Now, they are still 2 rounds down. Best case scenario right now for Olympus here on map 1 is to tie it up heading into the second half. Best case scenario for Aspect is to shoot for that 5-1 lead. How will that play out? We'll find out. Don't go away as we start off round number 5. Only 2 left in the first half. I blame my aim. Currently in the podcast room is Frostbite taking out Solo, who's been kind of a problem on the roam, but Grouchy Gizmo taking out Dr. Turt all the way from the broadcast hallway, as it looks like Ito and Impala opening up the podcast room where I blame my aim is waiting for a push from these 2 Olympus players. Are they going to go in and walk right into I blame my aim? We'll find out. There's 2 minutes on the clock.
The question is, will I blame just play a lot more discipline and maybe make a swing? You see your overall looks, but now the pressure coming from the hallway is starting to cave in. The flashbang tosses is able to find I blame, as that forces Gizmo back to a bomb site, as it's down to a 3v4. Nade toss, maybe sending out Gizmo, ends up going a bit too far. Hits faded for 50. Frostbite takes out Gizmo. Wall is open. That's a site.
And there goes Fade, and it's just down to Ito, who's taken out by Jess. And Olympus are bringing it back. Hertaj, they've secured their second round here in the first half. Looked like they were slowing down a bit, but that was a very, very good push. It was important that they took out I blame my aim immediately, and they did before I blame could find any extra picks. They were able to push into mixing, and there wasn't really anything they could do because there was just such a numbers advantage from Olympus, and that's the kind of offense that you need to see against Aspect. Now, they've reduced the 5-1 lead to a possible 4-2, but Olympus does have the eco advantage over Aspect. I guess they're both able to pick up a similar amount of utility, but I mean, we see Olympus, they needed that round. They definitely needed the extra util, the Vezins.
They needed everything. They needed that. They needed the guns. They needed the flashbangs. You can see how much utility mattered just within those 15 seconds of the action that just happened. You have the flashbangs in, able to buy enough time for you get the flashbang forces gets them back. The nade is able to chip down Faded to 50 HP. And it just, even though the first gun duel ended up, winning the round for the side of Olympus, it just matters, and it shows how much utility it is on Skyscraper.
They're droning out for Soloist. Dr. Turt opening up the round with a kill onto Faded, almost finding Gizmo as well. Tossing a frag, that's going to take out the door blocker. The sites are storage and green room. And And here comes the drone, which is taken out by that frag grenade, just currently playing center of green room. 2 minutes 25 on the clock as we make our way over to the other side of Skyscraper here. Solo on the flank. The proximity alarm has been tripped by Dr. Turt. Frostbite upstairs, looking to make their move down upper south. 2 minutes 10 on the clock. Impala, Dr. Turk could be ripped apart here by Solo, but maybe Frostbite will run into Solo at the perfect time. Oh my goodness, Impala. Oh, this is going to be bad. This is going to be very bad. Solo swings out, finds the kill onto Frostbite. Immediate ping goes down as Solo picks off a very nice kill, looking to rotate back around to the safer half of the Skyscraper while the rest of Olympus makes their push onto green room here.
Yeah, and you can see how deadly flanks are on Skyscraper, as now you can see the side of Olympus. They try to push onto the side of B, and Gizmo with a 3K shuts it down. It's down on Impala in a 1v4, but you just lost everything within a matter of seconds.
Not the most organized push. We saw it looked like they were going to try and sync it up at the same time, but two people went in. They got shut down by Gizmo, and then the third went in and got shut down by Gizmo. So it wasn't the best push from Olympus. They did lose Frostbite to Solo, with who by the way, that was a great tuck, and did a lot of damage to the offense from Olympus. So it looks like this, unless Impala can 1v4, which is certainly possible, and anything can happen in the Breachers VRML. I like to keep pushing that. But unless Impala can 1v4 this right now, it's going to be a 4-2 lead heading into defense. However, Impala on the move, taking out one, will be refragged by I Blame My Aim. Now, Hertush, if we're talking about side advantages, and I know I said I didn't believe in them earlier, but I mean...
Oh, wow. Yeah. and now you're listening.
I mean,
the
Olympus
could.
Do you think Olympus could bring it back on the defense now?
They could. Aspect need to win 3, which is arguably a lot more difficult, especially on the side of Enforcer, especially on Skyscraper. But I think we could, looking at the defense from that side of Aspect, we could see something a lot more similar from Aspect. If they do start as Enforcers, maybe we could see a full sack and maybe a full rush. But the question is can we expect the same amount of utility that was used from Olympus, and could it potentially be more from Aspect?
We'll see. It's going to come down to this first round here, because I don't know, if Aspect wins round number 1 here, they're going to buy Vezins. I don't imagine them double ecoing. I think double ecoing is a big risk, not one that I personally like to see teams taking, but that's just me, and I could just be me being fussy as a caster. But anyways, Ito, Dr. Turt over in offices right now. Interesting, a double roam. They may walk right into Faded here. We do see Aspect pushing through lobby, heading over to Site A, which has become more of a common push here. Solo taking out Brabadabado, as it was just a 4 versus 1. Not a great start for Olympus here, but look, Dr. Turt and Ito may do some damage here on the flank. We'll see where they go with that. Here comes the push into Site A, and Aspect is on the move. 2 minutes 15 on the clock, and here they come. Faded taking the table as Impala able to find a pick onto Solo, but is alone in conference as iBlame takes out Impala. Frostbite finding I Blame I Aim, and it's now down to a 2 versus 2 as Gizmo takes out Frostbite. And here come Ito and Dr. Turt on the flank. They may be able to retake the site, but they're going to have to do it fast as Ito takes out Grouchy Gizmo. It's now just down to Faded.
It Faded in a 1v2, just maybe had to defend that AP, but they're gonna start defusing. Faded has to check, and Ito from the side of Faded able to stop it, as that's gonna be the full defuse. Now Olympus getting their third round, and I will say it was a little bit scary from the side of Olympus. Double flank, big risk, especially on a pistol round.
Yeah, but it worked. It did wonders and really gave them the advantage. And might I say, that's not something we see too often there, the site retake. That's a strategy that's becoming a lot less common since the EMP got changed to take 45 seconds instead of that full minute. And, I mean, it threw Aspect off there. 2 people on the roam came in, found the picks at the end, and they were able to defuse that EMP, gave Olympus their first round here. And here we go. Okay, they're not double ecoing. That's what I like to see. I think it's important.
I think, Bob, I think you just want to see some action. I think
I do. I do. I want to see
I think that's the caster you. You just want to see people get shot and then just not play the waiting game with the economy. I think it's you. Personally, I respect it. You know, it makes sense, but obviously, I think Bob. I think he's the average second round eco hater.
I think I am. I'm on that bandwagon because I find myself constantly disapproving it when I'm casting matches. But I think it's important to go and try and secure those early rounds when you get the advantage of a Vezem while your teammates or your opponents are still on pistols. Faded taking out Impala as we start off round number 8. Olympus 1 round off of tying it up from Aspect. They've done a good job here on the second half so far. I blame taking out Vons as, they've lost somebody over on Olympus, and it's now a 3 versus 5. They do have 2 Vezem players up right now, but things are looking a little bit dangerous for Olympus.
Yeah, they've lost a good amount of their sight, and it does make, even though they are in a bit of safe spot, there is a lot. The only utility that the side of Aspect has is that bridge foam. So the only thing right now that Aspect could target is that wall, which they do have the bridge spray up. As Ito with that Vezin is able to take down Faded, and this is what a second round Vezin is just able to do.
Yeah, we see the power here. They can certainly turn it around as Solo takes out Ito. Grouchy Gizmo, however, finds Frostbite. Is going to pursue that Vezin. Brabadabado on the final stand in Site A has to rotate back through the green room as the EMP is getting planted. And Aspect were just very, very aggressive here on this round. Brabadabado is forced to retreat into the lobby and go for the salvage on that Vezin. And a lot of damage was done to Aspect. Grouchy Gizmo on 7, Solo on 25, and Jess on 48. So, I mean, it would have been close, but now Solo has recovered that Vezin, and it just did not go Olympus's way. But I guess this is an advantage going forward.
It's not damaging enough to mostly influence Olympus. You know, they've only lost 1 Vezin. If they lost that second Vezin from the side of Braba, then they would have been put in a really bad spot. But since they still have that Vezin to play, and a good amount of players, you know, Impala and Frostbite are over that 1800 mark, they're still good enough to go for a Vezin.
Only thing I'm concerned about here, though, is the bot that is still on Olympus.
Don't underestimate the bots. Those things. If you don't pay attention to that, if you just pretend they're a normal player, that they're gonna land a nastiest shot.
That is true. Although, from my experience with bots, it's kind of been 90% of the time they die immediately, and 10% of the time they flick onto somebody and get a crazy headshot. Actually, both teams losing a player. They both have a bot right now. Interesting. Oh, I blame reconnects as we're still waiting for it. It looks like Dr. Turret drops out on Olympus. Yeah, I might say, you know, things are going well so far, and then we'll have one of the recent issues, where the whole server shuts down.
The server goes down.
The server goes down, and we'll have to do a restart.
I don't think it's the game. I think it's just us, commentator cursing the game.
That is true. We have a lot of power in our words, and we have to be careful with what we say before we completely destroy what happens in the game. Grouchy Gizmo tossing a frag over into lower lounges. Von's looking to push up and is caught by Grouchy Gizmo immediately. Interesting, locked on to I blame my aim with it's a whole floor above them. That's the boss for you. Dr. Turret reconnecting just a little bit too late. Now 2.5 minutes on the clock. Gizmo still holding those windows outside of the lower lounge. Olympus find themselves in a bit of trouble as just taking out Ito. And it's now a 4 versus 3. As, wow, 2 quick kills from Olympus tie this up. And it could be turned around.
3v3, all the members of Aspect, they're on that top floor. So they do have a bit of map control and sight to, maybe isolate some of these members of Olympus. But, something with the boss is that I think it's free info. That they lock on through walls. I essentially think that if you bait a bot, in a sense, you basically guarantee a player's location.
Yeah, it does. They do have their advantages if you.
I need to know their secrets. I do gotta know their secrets. I'm about to break into the Triangle Factory headquarters in Belgium, and then steal the bot formula.
First, it's the script for the season 1 finale. Now it's how the bots work. Where they're gonna put a bounty on your head over in Triangle Factory or Touch. And there goes the conference wall as I Blame My Aim in Lobby Lounge at the moment, just finding Impala's Frostbite, finding the kill on Faded, will be refragged by I Blame My Aim, as it's now just down to Brabadavado, who's got a 1v2 against Jess and I Blame. There's only a minute left on the clock. Remember that a loss this round would push Aspect onto match point. And then at that point, all Olympus could hope to do is tie it up in the second half. There's 45 seconds on the clock. Do you salvage and keep the Vezin, Hurtaj, or do you go for it?
I think the better option would maybe make an attempt to salvage. If you can, maybe play a little bit more offensive. Maybe you could catch a player off guard, because it's a 1v2. And you still have a good fighting chance.
Oh, Jess might swing
as
this.
Long as you...
Oh, Jess is swinging it, but Brab firing the shots doesn't quite find it. At this point, would you save?
I mean, at that point, you're known. And I think Brab is just playing... Yeah, he's playing a lot more safe. And hopefully, just in case the Aspect player gets a little bit too aggressive, maybe catch one. But we're seeing a full save from Baba. And... the same makes sense. You have 3 players on the side of Olympus that I believe will not be able to get a vested. I'm not sure how the loss bonus works, because it changed, and I'm not sure if they're gonna get the Vezins. But yeah, they are not gonna get the Vezins. So on the side of Olympus, they're gonna be at a really big disadvantage.
They're able to field 2 more. Frostbite and Ito picking up a Vezin themselves, but we do see Impala running a Viper, Dr. Chert with Cadillo, and what is now the final stand for Olympus. The best case scenario, if you're new to Breachers, is for them to now tie up the map, which would void the points in the competitive series, and they would have to move on to a third map, and we would see who would win that. But we're a long way off from that. They have to win 3 rounds in a row against a well-stacked Aspect. Oh, not again.
No, that's gotta be unfortunate.
Oh. Does Dr. Turret have a primed frag?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I think that's a static. It is a static.
That is a static.
Okay. Okay. Well, at least they're not gonna team kill everybody, but is team killed by Impala as they look to harvest the kit from Dr. Turret. Really unfortunate that they are having those connection problems as we see a drone moving over into the broadcast hallway looking to scout out radio as Grouchy Gizmo taking out Frostbite. Ito is now surrounded but does take out Faded. Ito, a one-man army as Impala team kills Ito. What? Brabadabado taking out Grouchy Gizmo. It's now down to a 2 versus 2.
2v2. I thought it was gonna be a little bit more risky, just leaving a couple players outside of podcast smoke up to stop the vision of Olympus. They can no longer try and peek through that. They're gonna toss a nade through podcast. It's not sure if that's gonna catch Solo off guard, but I think it is. Yes, it is a bit too far. But now the A wall is open.
Yeah, there's 2 minutes on the clock, so plenty of time for Solo and I Blame to attack this. Impala, stuck with a Viper, doesn't have access to a Vezin right now, so they have to get the jump on Solo, or they'll definitely lose that gunfight. And then I Blame My Aim, of course, on the other side, over by Site B. currently in a 1v1 against Brabadabado, and this is all going to come down to this kill right here. Oh no, Impala's feet got seen by Solo, and it's now just down to Brabadabado, who's once again finding themselves in a clutch situation, does find the kill on I Blame My Aim, and it's now just down to Solo. They cannot eco anymore, because if they lose this, they're going to lose the whole map. Solo over in mixing right now, maybe caught by Brabadabado, going to get that EMP planted as Solo on the right. Brabadabado picking up some damage, looking to pre-fire. Solo has to get the heal, but it doesn't go off. Their gun is loaded. Is Solo going to find Brab? Solo will find Brab. Just saw their head over the table as Aspect pick up their first map and first win of this series.
An absolute nail biter for the 1v1. Brab been in these 1v1s multiple times. Maybe found one, but just couldn't close everything out. Every single time it's been I think every single time it's been a 1v1, it always ended up in Aspect's favor.
Yeah, I mean, they've got some good shooters on Aspect, so you know, when you get down to that 1v1 situation, it's going to be hard to win against those Aspect players. And I think Olympus put up some good rounds. The rounds that they won, you could definitely tell they outplayed Aspect in those rounds, but it comes down to the whole map, and Aspect had more rounds where they outplayed Olympus. And I mean, I think they had better strategy. They stuck together. They were not giving Olympus those pointless 1v1s. I think ultimately that contributed to their win. But I mean, every round was close. You know, it wasn't like they had all 5 standing. It usually came down to a 1v1 or a 1 versus 2. So Olympus did put up a very good fight. Map number 2, Heritage, is going to be Hideout. Any thoughts here?
Yeah, I think Hideout, it is a little bit more of a lenient pick on that side of Olympus. If we do cut to that matchup, and yeah, it does make sense. They have a quote-unquote 100% win rate on Hideout with an 83% round win in the overall difference. Being compared to Aspect, I do believe they are at 33 with a 54% round win. So it is a lot more favorable on the side of Olympus. So I do believe we are going to get a server swap, but usually I believe Aspect, they've just played the top teams. So maybe that could be a little bit more false information from that side of Aspect, but I think it's just better to let the gameplay decide.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, definitely let the gameplay decide here. I mean, could go either way, as we've seen before. And now do keep in mind that Olympus started off on the offensive half while of Skyscraper, so maybe they could potentially find some success here on Hideout that's not as determined by the side you start out on. We'll see what happens here as we're currently swapping over the servers. Whoops. There we go. And while we wait for everybody to start up and log in, let me quickly go over
the sponsors.
Yeah, the sponsors, the people that make the Breachers VRML possible. Now, of course, starting off with Triangle Factory, the developers of Breachers, of course, the people also putting a bounty out on Heritage when he breaks into their headquarters and steals the bot's secrets. Anyways, we've helped, Triangle Factory has helped out the VRML in a lot of past occurrences. They have 2 gun skins that they gave us. One was awarded to the Season 1 finalists, and the other you can actually purchase right now for 150 credits in a game. So big thank you to Triangle Factory. They're also contributing to VRMLCon 24, which is happening the 20th and the 21st of July. Next up, Exclaim, the official merch store for the VRML. And of course, a couple other teams also do sell their merchandise there. You can tap into a whole new level of fan engagement. If you're interested in an exclusive store-wide discount while supporting the league, consider affiliating with the VRML via Exclaim. Next up, ProTube VR, which provides the best VR rifle mounts and accessories. Help stabilize your aim in-game by picking up a MagTube stock. Put your controllers into cups that magnetically connect to a fully adjustable stock. With a variety of other products ranging from Beat Saber to joystick mounts, ProTube VR is your one-stop shop for controller peripherals. And finally, HyperX. And you can get 15% off MRSP off of fully priced HyperX products in North America using code HXVRML23. They also supply our casting department with some wonderful, wonderful little goodies, as well as our overall prize pool. And you're actually hearing my voice right now out of the Quadcast HyperX microphone, which has this wonderful little tap to mute feature.
Mic.
Yeah,
tap to mute.
So if I do this right here, you couldn't tell what I said. You couldn't tell what I said right there at all.
What Bob said.
Who knows what I said? I could have revealed when
he
Ranked was
probably
coming out.
leaked the season 2 winners. He probably leaked the season 2 winners.
I leaked when Ranked was coming out, and you couldn't even hear me.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Exactly. So make sure you go over and check out HyperX. And
I think I got a good idea on what Bob leaked. He probably leaked the Season 2 North American winners, which will be held at VRMLCon live in Denver, Colorado. Wow, I can't believe I got the plug in. But yes, we have VRMLCon coming in 2024. In July, we got 4 games that are going to be played live on stage, especially here at Breachers. Top 2 North American teams. They will be flown out to Denver, Colorado to finally decide who will be the Season 2 North American champions. But we'll talk about that later. But right now, we got to go with Hideout.
Here we are on map number 2. Remember that if Aspect wins this map, they're going to win the whole series. So Olympus are going to be keen to not let that happen. Here we go, starting off with the eco from Olympus. They do have spectrals across the board. They did pick up actually 2 smokes and 2 frag grenades. And over on Aspect, a breaching foam, frag, a drone, and a smoke. So both teams investing in the utility, and it looks... Oh, this is interesting. It looks like it may be a Site B push.
Yeah, I think looking at the overall utility from that side of Aspect, they have a smoke and a frag, so I think the overall strategy... Oh, never mind. I heard a smoke just go off. I'm not sure from where. Where did that go?
Oh, there's one in the death hallway right now. Here comes Faded on the push as Aspect looking to push up to the death box. Grouchy Gizmo taking out Ito, finding the first pick of this second map. And Dr. Tur in a tough spot right now on death box. Here comes Faded pushing up, not relenting, but will eventually go down to Brabadabado, but not before Olympus lose 2 players. Smoke tossed from Olympus as both teams have exchanged fair bit of utility now. I blame my aim over in the bedroom at the moment. 2 minutes 10 left on the clock. Just making their way into Site B as Olympus have given up a lot of real estate to Aspect. Here comes Frostbite tossing a frag in. That's going to catch some damage onto I blame my aim, but a good collapse from that Olympus defense, which was prompted by Aspect, has ended in a victory for Aspect here on round number 1 of map number 2.
Yeah, I think it was just that late rotate coming in from the side of Olympus. They for some reason, they decided to stack 2 inside of Closet, even though it looked like most of that action was inside of Long. And with the smoke there, and I think this was a little bit of a mistake from that side of Olympus. They decided to smoke that long wall, and that ended up allowing Solo to just go for it. He's just able to go for the spray and, open it up, and they have a lot of time to just go for it. They don't have to worry about the line of sight coming in. They don't have to worry about server because they know the smoke's there. They have a lot of time to just focus on the angles. And the moment you let, I think it was iBlame or whoever the EMP carrier just push through, knowing that library cubby was clear, they were just able to go for this plant, and basically Olympus, they were just in a one-way tunnel, and they just had nothing to do about it.
Yeah, Frostbite went for the flank there too, but just got shut down. Did get a frag out, but it didn't go far enough to take out I Blame My Aim. So not an ideal start for Olympus here. You certainly don't want to give your opponent round one, because you know they're going to capitalize off of this. They've bought 2 of those round 2 Vezins. Olympus, again, putting up a pretty decent defense here against Aspect, just finding themselves in a bit of trouble. But of course, it is only round number 2. We'll see what they decide to do, but there's nobody on site A, and it looks like it's going to be a wine cellar push from Aspect. Brab currently over in Arcade as a smoke was tossed. Brab may get caught out here, looking for a kill, possibly onto Faded, who's just jiggle peeking Brab right now. We'll see if they manage to get that here. Here come Gizmo and Solo into Workshop, or excuse me, into Bar, as there goes the Breaching Foam. Joe Cool able to take out one. Does get refragged by Gizmos. It's now a 4 versus 3. Fading taking out Jess with a frag grenade as Frostbite looking to push up. I Blame I Am taking up Frostbite as it's now just down to Dr. Turk, the last player standing here for Olympus in round number 2. Oh, gets the shot off, but it doesn't hit anybody. And now Aspect knows where they are.
Playing on the edge. Just shooting, playing a little bit more risky, just standing in front of that wall. Now Dr. Turret is just on 15, just on a slither, as it's just one single tap from the Vezin just ends his life. Now he has to play a little bit more cautious as Blame from a single pixel able to shut Dr. Turret down. And I think just leaving that side alone, and it just ended up costing them. But, you know, Joel Cool tried to stop, maybe just stop into Shax, able to find one, but it immediately got lost because this was inside the body of one of the players of Aspect. Is, you know, giving up A is a lot more difficult to retake. I argue it's a lot more difficult to retake than Jim.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a couple angles that you can attack Jim from. In Bar, it's just a lot smaller than Jim. You have a lot less space to work with, and ultimately, I think Aspect, I mean, they made a good call. I think it's harder to execute a good push on a Bar than it is on Jim. But if you can execute it well, I think it's a lot harder to stop that.
Do me a favor. Can you tune into Dr. Turret?
Yeah. Let me head over to Dr. Turret real quick.
I think you missed it.
What did I miss?
I'm not gonna. Okay.
Okay, it's not something you can repeat on broadcast.
I don't think I'm not. I don't think. For the sake of my caster position, I think it's better off if I just don't explain it.
Okay, Ignorance is bliss, as they say. I Blame I Am taking out Dr. Turd as Gizmo goes down to Frostbite. Jess refragging Frostbite as it's now a 4 versus 3. Rabbit was running the Huracan, by the way, as we see Jess taking out Ito. Joe Cool stuck in Bar right now with that RCP. Here comes the drone, and this is not good for Olympus. A Solo takes out Joe Cool. Brabadabido actually finds Jess with the Huracan. Will go down to I Blame My Aim as it's now a hat
We got a Huracan kill. So yeah, even though that aspect got around, nothing matters. Bravo, he got a Huracan kill. We have a Huracan kill. I think the first Huracan kill of season 4. No. What am I thinking? Week 4, season 2. I think I went way too far with the script. We got to go back to line 372.
Okay, yeah. Line 372 leaves us off with a 3-0 game as Aspect kind of running away with this first half here, Hertosh. Are only able to field 2 Vezins on Olympus right now as Aspect are kind of drowning in their vast wealth. I think losing that pistol round definitely put Olympus in a really, really bad spot, whereas on Skyscraper, they're able to manipulate the economy a little bit more in their favor. But right now, it looks like Aspect are content with going with these steamroll offenses until the second half when they find themselves on the defense.
Yeah. You know, I was questioning a bit, but somehow the side of Olympus, they have goodness. 2 Vezins.
Wow, what a frag onto Frostbite. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think even though it looks like they went with a half buy on the side of Olympus, you know, a Huracan, you know, I think it was a full actually, or a half. But, you know, they're a little bit more stable, but But look at the big risk that they're trying to make. They have a split economy, but the nade's going to be tossed. They're going to have to focus on this A execute.
Smokes and Incendiaries exchange is faded. Looks to get that EMP planted, but Ito with no fear charging up, finding that kill. Will be refragged as Frostbite responding with a frag onto Solo as it's now down to a 3 versus 4. And what is a good start for Olympus? The EMP, keep in mind, has not been planted yet. Brabadabado taking out Jess up on the hatch. Not something you see every day where the defender takes out the hatch player. There's now only 2 minutes left on the clock. And we'll see what happens. It's just down to I Blame My Aim and Grouchy Gizmo. This was a good play from Olympus. They responded to this very well, kept Aspect away from planting that EMP, and were ultimately able to find the picks that they needed. And that smoke that was tossed, I believe, by Aspect ended up not working out the best for them. There's breaching foam on the bathroom wall, but they don't have the detonator, so they can't open that up. Brabadabado over in bedroom right now, maybe caught by I Blame My Aim, who's looking to swing in, but I don't think I Blame knew, and I Blame did not know. As Brabadabado finds that kill, it's now just down to Grouchy Gizmo.
Yeah, and just really well executed from the side of Olympus there, as Frostbite will confirm that kill for their first round. But you gotta give it up for Endo. The amount of steel to go through that entire incendiary, knowing that he could die there, and just to instantly stop that EMP plant, and just knowing how breaches works. The moment you get that EMP on the wall, it's like Gorilla Glue. It will not come off. You know, tell me which one is harder to get off: the Gorilla Glue on the EMP or the Gorilla Glue in the woman's hair that went viral like years ago.
Oh wow, what a comparison there. Probably the EMP. I'd have to say it's the EMP. I mean, you just can't get it off that wall, and that's one of the disadvantages to losing control of the EMP once you plant it over on the offense, is that if the defense can push up on it and you haven't gotten it planted yet, they don't have to worry about defusing it. It can really be a problem. I'm sorry, I'm just watching his Joe Cool deadlifting in gym right now. As
that's like 120. You're deadlifting 120.
Good form there from Joe Cool. As
yeah, you gotta put a little bit more. You gotta put a little bit more on there, Joe.
Grouchy Gizmo right outside of garage here, getting that flashbang tossed into the fort where nobody's actually waiting. There's a frag, and it's good grenade placement, but nobody was waiting in the fort. Dr. Turt responded with a frag of their own. That won't find any damage onto Gizmo, as Aspect instead choosing to go for an upstairs push. Looks like Sola may try and block out the boiler room connector there with the superior positioning from the hatch. Meanwhile, Grouchy Gizmo heading back out to the courtyard where Dr. Turt is waiting just inside of storage along with Ito, and Frostbite may cause a lot of damage as we see a full send from Aspect. They're storming through the boiler, and they broke through as Faded making their way into bar, and we see a split push as I Blame My Aim coming from nowhere, dropping down the garage hatch and taking out all 3 of those Olympus players. And I mean, Hertage, I wasn't even able to keep up with everything happening because that was very well synced.
It's a blink and you miss it.
Yeah.
The double smoke coming in from Aspect, the smoke's coming in to cut up boiler. That's gonna make Aspect drop, and it was just pure chaos. And then you have a double smoke on the side, inside of garage. And then, just I Blame from that garage hatch just drops down, ends up getting 3 because the side of Olympus, they don't watch the flank, and it ends up being a crucial round for them.
Yeah, they're hurting right now, and the best case scenario again for Olympus is to go 4-2 into the second half. Best case scenario for Aspect once again is a 5-1 lead, and they're set up to do that right now. They're only able to field 4 Vezins on Olympus, which I guess it's not really the worst case scenario by any means, but Aspect, they've got a lot of money to play around with here. They were able to buy the Vezins that they need, the util that they need, and we'll see what happens here. This Frostbite picking up a bit of damage as Aspect looking to push into garage, and Frostbite is just caught by that push from Aspect. Here comes Jess and Grouchy Gizmo making their way in, developing the push into Garage. Brabadabado currently playing kitchen as Solo finds Ito.
And now they have the breaching foam on that garage wall. Now that's fully open, and it ends up cutting out a good amount of line of sight. The smoke there, maybe trying to block that door, but it's just Brad, but just has to defend as he's able to find Jess cutting down the laundry. Now Nate's toss, maybe trying to clear out a couple of players, but no, Bravo's just doing it. Only a one-man operation. Catches Gizmo trying to cut off that rotate. So now it's down to a 3v3.
And what an incredible defense there from
What a hole from Braba.
who is able to make it out after taking out both Jess and Grouchy Gizmo. Better comeback from Olympus as they desperately try and bring it 4-2 moving into the second half. This could be a round that they need, but oh my goodness, a disconnect forces Joe Cool out of the game. And Bajoram will go down to Fade as it's now a 2 versus 3. Not an ideal time to disconnect, to say the least, as we see a minute and a half on the clock. And Brabadabado was able to put up a good defense, but is now in a really, really bad spot as Solo taking the flank from Laundry. Dr. Turt, however, taking out I Blame My Aim as it's now down to a 2 versus 2.
And for some reason, Turt doesn't make an attempt to go for the Vezin. So, yeah, but oh no, that is really brilliant. So Smoke's there to cut off the crosses and not know where the side of Aspect went. But now Turt's gonna push through. The vents, the hatch is gonna drop, and Turt, it goes down. It's just down to a 1v2. Bravo is able to find Solo, but look where the EV plan is. It's above that hatch. He attempts to start the defuse. He's gonna run into Faded, who has that really good angle. But it's just a matter of time. You only have 45 seconds, and the time is starting to wind down.
This is a common competitive plant. Brabadabado is going to have to expose himself to plant that EMP. Going for Pro Stone Fake. Faded looking for some shots. Oh, and finds Brabadabado as Faded really, really bringing it back on that EMP plant. I don't know if you saw Dr. Chirp push down the hatch to try and get Faded, but Faded swung around, found the kill onto Dr. Turt, and then was able to take out Brabadabado. So really the cornerstone of that win for Aspect, who now move into the second half with a 5-1 lead. Hertage, it could be all over for Olympus in 2 rounds.
Yeah, and I think for Olympus, all they just gotta focus on is just, now we're on the second story bomb site. I think what they have to just try and maybe do now is just force pressure. But if they do attempt to try and force pressure, the side of Aspect, they have, for some reason, I think 2 frag grenades and an incendiary in their arsenal. Maybe they're gonna start buying a little bit of utility to maybe stop a couple of these pushes. But I think. Oh yeah, also, the side of Olympus are also going to fight back as well with 2 frag grenades of their own. But I think it's just something that Olympus, they've had calls where it was correct. They just didn't have the guns, or just overall firepower to just work in their favor.
Oh, Faded taking out Frostbite, Solo taking out Ito, Gizmo taking out Impala. Definitely not a good start to the pistol round here. Brabadabado and Dr. Turt are going to have to put in a lot of work in a 2 versus 5 situation. It hasn't been
30 seconds, and 3 are down.
Yeah.
It hasn't been 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was a rough start, and I mean, it just goes to show you how good of a team Aspect is. They know that the push is going to come from Site A, and so really, I mean, just a couple of their players can shut down that standard push from Olympus. I mean, it's the mark of a team that deserves to be top 2. And Olympus, they put up a good fight here, but they are going to need to bring it a little bit more as Faded just going for the taunt. Brabadabado looking for a kill onto Solo as it's a numbers advantage, but Brab taking out Grouchy as Turt taking out 2 of their own, and it's now down to a 2 versus 2. And I bet Fade is probably regretting waving the hand there, as I mean, we saw Olympus even it back down to a 2 versus 2 also in a matter of seconds.
And now it is a full even match from that side. And maybe it's an area to maybe back someone off and side of the toilet. But Jess is on that main site, able to be at least one defender on A. Braba's going to be starting this plant. But the moment that's going to happen, as Dr. Toots able to find I blame. But the moment I believe Jess is going to hear that, that's the nade. That's going to force Braba back. But now the plant's going to start. Jess is going to have to peek.
And it's probably not in a spot that Jess was anticipating. And Brabadabado finds the kill onto Jess to make this a 5-2 game. In what looked like it would be a quick round for Aspect was completely turned around by Olympus. And now we're seeing the round 2 Vezin coming out from Dr. Turt. I hope we see one from Brabadabado as well. Okay, we do. I was going to say, from how well Brab has been doing, give Brab a Vezin.
The only player on that side of Olympus to enter double digits in overall frags. And I think the only one right now that is in that 2-digit mark. Braba, what is a kind of a key player for Olympus. It's just that his teammates need to be able to follow up. And you can see it over time. Braba just defending B-bomb site back on that first half. Able to shut down at least 2 players, able to cut off that rotate. But his team just couldn't hold it off. It shows that, even though you have these star players, it's really that the coordination that matters.
Yeah, everybody on the team needs to be contributing and finding those picks because, you can rely on you can rely on your fraggers here, but at the same time, you're putting a lot of extra pressure on a player. You need to make sure that you're also helping them out so that you're not giving them all of the work to do. And Olympus find themselves in a lucky situation here. They were able to find a round over Aspect. This is their opportunity to start turning this game around and possibly bring it in their favor. Remember, they can still win this, but it is going to be very close. Frostbite picking up a lot of damage from Faded as Impala taking Laundry. They do have to be careful for Solo and I blame my aim, who are on the flanks right now. Solo looking to head back upstairs as Grouchy, Gizmo, Jess, and Faded all making their way into Site B. I blame my aim taking out Ito. And a good... Oh my goodness! Grouchy Gizmo goes bowling and finds Frostbite.
Yeah, a full strike. Now Bravo's able to get the cross, but now the breathing foam opens up on that side of garage wall as both are open. Faded's gonna swing, able to knock down Bravo, but couldn't find the kill. Star Turret's also able to find Jess, making a 3v3 Vezins, but Solo was actually able to find Turret. That's a Vezin down. Impala finds Gizmo down to a 2v2. But look at the HP difference from Olympus.
Yeah, this is not good for Olympus by any means. Their players are very, very low, and it really came down to Solo and I blame my aim, who were on the flank. Brabadabado is caught by Solo. Impala with the refrag, but I blame my aim refragging Impala. And really, again, those 2 roamers there just devastated the Olympus offense. They made a good push into the site, but they were just on the flank, found the picks that they needed, were able to rotate back through and then outnumber Impala. Brabadabado just couldn't get away. They didn't have enough health. And ultimately, that leads Aspect to get match point of map 2 here. And Hertage, one more round win could spell defeat for Olympus altogether.
Yeah. One round, it just takes one wrong call, one wrong take, one wrong gunfight, and that is going to be your match for this week. But, for the side of Olympus, they've had potential. They've always had it into these 1v2s, 1v1s. They've just never been able to close it out. I'm not sure what is going on with them, but it shows, they're able to compete, but it's within those mid-round to late game calls. It just doesn't line up with the overall performance from the side of Olympus.
Yeah, I think they definitely need some practice here. Work on the coordination. Make sure everybody can find those picks that they need to. Because when you get up into these top tier teams, you've got some standout shooters, but there's an expectation that everybody needs to be able to pull their weight. Everybody needs to be coordinated, and you have to have those strategies, or you have to stand out as a team if you want to beat Aspect or if you want to beat Acer. And right now, I think, yeah, as you mentioned, Olympus have done a good job in responding to Acer. These rounds have always been close, but they are still going to need some work if they want to move higher into the standings here. 2.5 minutes on the clock as we see what looks like it's going to be a Site B push by Olympus.
Now you can see the side of Olympus. They're going to try and take long. The grenade ends up being a little bit too far, unable to corner
Oh, wow.
iBlame. As now the roll there goes bowling and actually able to find one. But Ito's actually able to take down iBlame. But Solo from the bottom, able to shut down Dr. Turt. Now they have to worry about a realm, but they've made some good progress on long. They have a good amount of map control, but they just need to make sure they don't get into these really bad 1v1s. If they get into these bad 1v1s, they lose some of that map control, they lose a player, and that can end up costing them that series.
These roamers are going to slow them down as well. You saw Solo take out Dr. Turt from a really, really good spot in the foyer. And that's, I mean, it's got to hurt the mental of Olympus a lot because you think you've got a good setup. And then from out of nowhere, you die suddenly. And it was to Solo who, I mean, downstairs just had, again, really, really good positioning. Faded leaning out into the death hallway right now. So there's 1:20 on the clock. And Olympus are running out of time to execute a good push here. They're almost set up, I'd say, as Faded is caught by Ito, looking to recover a Vezin for the rest of Olympus. But there's only a minute left, and it's a 4 versus 3.
4 versus 3, the advantage is there. But they're going to be running to in Gizmo, and guess what? Gizmo has that Knut in hand. He's going to be tucked into that library corner. The bedroom wall is going to open as well as long. He's going to start swinging. He does find one. He gets 2 when Paula goes down. It's all down to Brava. He's able to find 1, but he needs to clutch this 1v2. But there's 40 seconds left. He's going to be start peeking. The smoke's in the way. It's a peek from Jess. He falls as well. 1v1 is can Solo clutch this 1v3. And actually stop this 1v3 coming in from Brava. There's 30 seconds left. Brava finds 2 stabs, able to go back to the full 100. There's 20 seconds. Solo's in a good spot. He's in server. He's good. Brava has to check. But I'm getting nervous. 15 seconds. He has to at least start getting that EMP progress.
Brav has got to make a move here. Only 10 seconds left. Can Solo stall for long enough? Solo pushing for the kill. Finds it. And that spells defeat for Olympus here in map 2. And it was a very close final round. But your winners of tonight's matchup are going to be Aspect. I mean, what can you say? This is Aspect. They came to win, as they always do. They're the number 2 they're the number 2 team in Breachers VRML for a reason, and they showed that. I mean, they showed that on Skyscraper. They showed it on Hideout. Those rounds got close, of course. Olympus did put up a pretty good fight against Aspect, but ultimately, I mean, this came down to that difference in skill between the top, the number 2 team and the number 6 team.
Yeah, you can see his skill there. You can even look at the leaderboard. You see Brava being such an impactful player, and you can see how much skill matters in the tier 1 scene of Breachers, and it is a big deficit on this side. You can see I think 13 to 5, and it shows that everyone has a part in Breachers. If you start to slack off a little bit, or if you start to be down a little bit, it could end up costing you the series. If one player's off, it could spell disaster. And I think it's something that we've seen here. Meanwhile, on that side of Aspect, you could see just how well the coordination is. Front side of Aspect, they've done well. They've coordinated together. They're holding angles. There's no 2 people watching the same angle, and you see how much coordination matters.
Yeah, it's positioning, team play, and of course individual skill and your ability to win your 1v1s are all some of the core factors that it takes to win a Breachers game. You gotta have that team play. And yeah, again, we saw Aspect. I mean, you look at their team, just did give 3 and 8, but I mean, 7 from Faded and Grouchy Gizmo, 11 from Solo and I Blame My Aim. Everybody on this Aspect team is pulling their weight. And as you pointed out, Hertage, Brabadabado going 13-7. And yeah, when you get up into these top tiers, it's just not good enough. When you go up against Aspect, when you go up against Acer, especially Acer, everybody on Acer is really good at pulling their own weight. And you've got to elevate your team, get up to that level where everybody can contribute constantly, because that's how you make your way through the Breachers VRML. In any case, that's going to do it for our matchup tonight here. I'm Gibular Bob. This has been Hertage, and this was Aspect versus Olympus. Congratulations to Aspect for moving on in... Well, I guess they're both moving on. It's not like anybody got eliminated.
It's like week 4, I think. We still got 12 seasons, and any of them could head into playoffs easily. One more thing before we head out or we sign off for the night. Buy your VRML con tickets. They are up at vrmasterleague.com/VRMLcon. A bunch of people are already coming. You can see some of the commentators like me, Bob, and the rest of the VRML staff that is going to be live at Denver, Colorado. You see the top 2 teams from Breachers inside the North American region. Fly to Denver, and we'll be able to decide a champion. But yeah, go to vrmasterleague.com/VRMLcon. Get your tickets. We also have accommodation rates, so there's no reason to go.
There's no reason not to go.
No reason
There's
not
no
to go.
reason
Wow,
not to go.
I need to get my wording right. But yeah, I'm gonna be there. I'm not sure if Bob's gonna be there. Bob, are you gonna be there? Are you gonna make me happy?
I am gonna be there. I am gonna be there.
Yeah.
I'm bringing my hat. I gotta bring the hat. And
the sailor hat, the captain hat.
everyone's
Everyone's gonna be there. It's gonna be a great time. You're gonna see a lot of the people that you've met through VRML. A lot of people within the VR community, and we do have hotels at a discounted price if you go to vrmasterleague.com/VRMLcon. So book your ticket, book your hotel. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to join the VRML Discord, maybe if the VRML Con Discord, you can find that by going to the Discord linked in either the announcements channel of the VRML Discord or at the bottom of those weekly articles that I make on the VRML homepage each week. There's the link to the VRML Con website and the link to the VRML Con Discord. Remember, if you do volunteer for some of the camera positioning that we need, those extra tough jobs at the LAN, you could possibly get flown out and be accommodated with a hotel. You get your entry waves. A lot of really nice benefits to doing that. So if you're interested, check out that Discord, check out that website. And for now, that's going to do it. I'm Gibular Bob. This has been Hertage. Have a great night, everybody.
VRML is brought to you by Helga, the esports manager, Triangle Factory. Thanks for watching VRML.